in that area under that HUD grant. That hasn't even been talked about. But when I think about the opera fund, I think about the entire city, the residents, the 7,000 residents that put on an intake form that they need home improvements. That's what I think about. So when I see that we have like $250,000 for home repairs in Court Street Village, and then another $250,000 for the paint project, I'm thinking, okay, we should have had, first of all, it should have been more money put into that category. $5 million for this entire city, whereas every quadrant in this city should have been able to have a set amount of home improvements, not just one specific area. So that was my thoughts. Okay, it had nothing to do. No slight on the 7th Ward. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Anyone else would like to speak on this amended motion?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Burns.
Thank you. We need a working session. We need a working session to do the work, because there are some of the same issues, and I spoke by Stewart School. It's bad. It's really bad. So, and that is Southside, and then we talk about a 5th Ward. It's every ward. I mean, some of them look like somebody just dropped the bomb. I don't know if this project is your project, because I can't vote on it, because I'm not in agreement with the process on how the ARPA committee was selected. They didn't come to us by resolution, and I'm gonna keep saying it, the 12-member body, and how the decisions were made. And we talk about how they came, they're supposed to come according to the charter, and I'm gonna be redundant. We had the CWA, the Planning Commission, the Human Relations Commission, the Ethics Board, the Hurley Board, the CWA, Zoning and Appeals, Board of Review, all of those people who come to us, who make decisions. They don't make a decision, they kind of tell us, well, this is what suggestions, or what we can do. So they give us that. They make recommendations. All those groups in the charter make recommendations. Just like this advisory board is making recommendations. Poor recommendations right now, because we're arguing about it. We need a working session so that we take care of the residents. The residents should be first. And I'm gonna fight for the residents being first. I'm not gonna waver from that. This board, we don't know what they're talking about, what they're doing. But what I do know is right now today, that we're not satisfied in the 3rd Ward, 5th Ward, 7th Ward, and then even the 4th Ward needs, that's a whole lot of help over there. I mean, Judy can drive a block out and seeing a burnt down home. And Washington got put on the back burner. So when we talk about that, we need a working session. All of us need to come with a cool hats on, do the work, so that any project, they're not lost. Because right now they're getting lost. And again, I'm not, if the project is great, and I've spoken about it, and it should be done in every ward. I think the wards with the highest population before we had the shift change was Ward 9 and Ward 8 had the highest population. My ward, I don't need too much like that. But my ward is not like their ward. I understand the demographics of those wards. So I think we need a working session. And because the charter states very clearly, this board, I feel, is a legal board. When all of these boards make a recommendation, they come by resolution and give us a resume. We don't know who these folks are. They gave us no resume. They came before this board and they're making terrible decisions. So we're just making us fight up in here. So I want us to do this right, get a working session. This is not working. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Anyone else?
Request for information, Madam Chair. I know that's my time, but I just had a request. I'm not asking you for time, if you allow me.
Okay.
Thank you. Do we have to be out of here by 9:30?
Madam Clerk?
As far as I know, yes.
Thank you.
right. Anyone else would like to speak in the first round? In the home round? All right, seeing that no one else, I will go ahead and use my time. I'm saying I don't want to send it back to finance because a few things I want to point out to my colleagues in here. This is the work session. This is where we do the work. In college and in school, we had this thing called homework. You go and do it, and you bring your answers back, and then we work together right here. Don't need to have extra meetings when we can meet with the homework and with the work right here. My colleagues, they have the opportunity to adjust the budget from $5 million. You don't think it's enough? We have the budget for weeks. What have you submitted to show us where we can get the money from? Councilwoman Priestley extended the invitation to show us where the money can come from for home repair. No one has done that. Ms. Priestley, through you, have anyone reached out to you to tell you where we can get the more money for home repair?
No one, not on the council or in the front row.
Okay, thank you. We want to make sure that we're in order. Thank you. And so that's the work. Don't talk about what we should do what we should do. And let me just make these points too, because I'm not going to beat up on Fourth Street Village, because like I like to do, I got in my little car and I rolled around to see what it was looking like. A big, beautiful historic area with walkers, 50 deep, that gather at a certain time. They walk their neighborhood. When I saw homes that needed repair, homes that were in position to get passed down, to create that generational wealth. That's who stay there. Those people just need a hands up. And I will not come down on them because Ms. Norma established, well, I think you did, but you're a part of an organization that transitioned into a nonprofit to help your neighborhood. Cyrus Park turned into a nonprofit to help the neighborhood. We can laugh, but that's the work. People from the north side, east side, west side, do what they had the opportunity to apply for ARPA funds. There were open nonprofits. They didn't do it. Those that did, they may have resolutions here. There's no wow to this. The wow is thank you, Ms. Sain, for doing the work for your residents. So you can help upgrade the lives of over 20 elderly women that are in position to pass down homes that have 30-year roofs and brand new paint jobs to uplift that area. That is not the cultural center area. That area needs help. And I appreciate you for doing the work on behalf of your residents. And you will not be shamed. Keep working on behalf of the people. And the rest of the other organizations, north side, whatever, east side, get together and do the work. So with that being said, we're looking to send Resolution 230-251 and 230-252 back to Finance Committee. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Worthing.
Right. Yes. Pardon me again from the first row. If I can hear your conversation up here, you're being disorderly. So please, let's keep our voices down. Thank you. Proceed.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Ms. Priestley.
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter.
Yes.
Ms. Burns.
I abstain.
Ms. Mushat.
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer. The vote is 7 yes, 0 no, 1 abstention.
The vote is 7 yes, 0 no, 1 abstention. Resolution 230-251 and 230-252 have been sent back to Finance Committee.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Priestley.
make a motion to approve to send to council 230253.
All right. There has been a motion to send 230-253 to council, supported by Ms. Michelle. Any discussion, Mr. Pfeiffer? All right. Mr. Pfeiffer would like to call the question. Any support? Who did? Oh, okay, got it. So supported by Ms. Worthing. Roll call, Madam Chair.
Ms. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Ms. Priestley.
Yes.
Ms. Murphy Carter?
No.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer? Ms. Worthing?
Yes.
The vote is 7 yes, 1 no.
Vote is 7
yes, 1 no.
Vote is 7 yes, 1 no. All right, so the resolution is on the floor to send 230253 to council. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Murphy Carter? Ms. Burns?
Sorry, I abstain for reasons stated before.
Ms. Murphy Carter? I'm sorry. Ms. Burns?
I abstain for reasons stated before. I don't believe the 12-member body was created correctly.
Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer? Ms. Worthing?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no, 2 abstentions.
Vote is 6 yes, 0 no, and 2 abstentions. Well, hold on, please. Resolution 230253 has been sent to council. Mr. Pfeiffer? There is a motion to adjourn on the floor. Any support?
Support.
It's been supported by Ms. Burns. Roll call, Madam Chair.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer? Ms. Worthing? Ms. Lewis?
No.
I'm sorry. Mr. Murphy? Vote is 6 yes, 2 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 2 no on the motion to adjourn. It has passed. It is now 8:23, and the special affairs meeting has now adjourned.
Hey, Chair.
What?
City Council. And if you go to LAC and you're not a member, you need to go to City Council. Give her my number and I'll text her. Hi, how are you? You should be findable on YouTube at today's date, 08/14/23. If you're a member, if you're not a member, you gotta look at like the last meeting, there's the last meeting, and there's a link in the description. So you might try that as well. Yes. Not 99 cents. Okay? It's been, I've had a couple calls. I gotta talk to YouTube. I don't see what they see because I own the channel. So there's supposed to be a button that says, if you're not a member, look. Last time
y'all better get your kids in the workshop. The library has to meet. But the next time, still there. What are you? Hey, great. Still there. Talking about habitat and nobody ever. in the racial voting fight when everybody's scared to the first one like Chris Rock. You'll sit and slap that dude in the ear and slide the ear. You don't know he did it. That's the hell.
What do you guys want to do?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
One, two, ready, go. Gonna pull the stops, gonna make it go. You're living on a wing and a prayer. Gonna put them things together. You know it's now or never.
Okay. Okay. That was good. Oh, look this way. Look this way. Honey, get the gas on. Get the gas. No, I don't want your hands on the wheel. Hey, it's okay. You're doing great. You're driving. That's right. Break.
All right, we're about to get ready to start meeting, so calling on council members to please take their seats so we can get started. Thank you. The time is now 8:44, and the Flint City Council meeting is now called to order. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mays is not in. Ms. Lewis?
Present.
Mr. Murphy? Ms. Priestley?
Present.
Ms. Murphy Carter?
Present.
Ms. Burns?
Present.
Ms. Bouchard? Mr. Pfeiffer? Ms. Worthing? We have 8 members present.
We have 8 members present. Ms. Priestley, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now it's time for our prayer of blessing. But before we give our prayer of blessing, we want to do a moment of silence. Would anyone like to acknowledge someone during this time of moment of silence?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Ms. Mr. Carter.
Madam Chair, I would like for us to have a moment of silence for the family of Miss Petey Green. A moment of silence for the family of Miss Tatashia Collins. And a moment of silence for the family of Mr. Albert Wells. Thank you, Madam Chair. And really, a moment of silence for all of the families who have lost loved ones. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, is there anyone else that would like to acknowledge someone?
Madam Chair, I'd like us to have a moment of silence for the family of Doris Kills.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to use this time?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Well, it's maybe 6 time zones away. I'd like a moment of silence for the folks in Hawaii, in Maui. While it's not close to us, they need a lot of prayers over there.
All right. And anyone else?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Burns?
I'd like a moment of silence for Miss Marty and Cheryl Porter and Marty Coley. She lost her husband.
Anyone else?
Madam Chair, a moment of silence for the people over in Turkey, the Russians that blocked them from getting food, and they starting right now.
All right, thank you. All right, so one last call. Seeing that there is none, I would like to have a special moment of silence for Ms. Josephine Haney, as well as Mr. Lee Roy Lever Jr. So, with that being said, a moment of silence. All right, thank you. So we would like to be led in a prayer or a blessing by Councilwoman Kim Boucher.
All minds are clear. Heavenly Father, we come to you now, just first and foremost, thanking you for this day. Thank you for allowing us all to be here with one another. Thanking you for the community that has gathered, both in person and online. Thanking you for all of the council people that are present, asking that our minds, hearts, and ears would be open to hear and receive from the residents, that we would all vote with clear minds and hearts and do what's best for the interests of our city, that you would continue to bless the great city of Flint. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. So, next on the agenda, we have the presentation of minutes, which are not ready at this time, and we will move on to the public hearing. So, but before I do that, let me just reiterate the reading of this early person city code subsection. Any person that persists in disrupting this meeting will be in violation of the Flint City Code subsection 3110, disorderly conduct, assault and battery, disorderly person, and will be subject to arrest or misdemeanor. Any person who prevents the peaceful and orderly conduct of any meeting will be given one warning. If they persist to be disrupting the meeting, that individual will be subject to arrest. Violators shall be removed from the meeting. So going down to the public hearing, members of the public should have no more than 3 minutes to address the city council during a public hearing. And this is public hearing 230-225-6. All right. So do we have to get a motion to get that going? All right. Well, let's go ahead and get it going. We're going to start our public hearing. And first speaker, Madam Clerk. All right. So any speakers on the Brownfield Redevelopment Plan, Flint Commerce Center? And just a reminder, please stay germane to just that. If you're talking about anything else, we will redirect you. Thank you and happy birthday, Ariel.
And listen here, lady, my name is Ariel Mitchell, and my birthday is August the 15th. That just happened to, in case I missed it. People's in this Flint, I try to get on the gospel station for the whole week, and nobody act like they can activate their smartphones to put me on the bus, give me the birthday business. But enough has been said about that. But you see this, I've been homeless for 38 years in the city of Flint, and my dad, I was 3 years old when I come to Flint, ended up on the Brownfield territory. That state is St. John Street. And my daddy went over to truck assembly, not period, but my uncle told me he had to play like he was my daddy to get away from the white people down south, because they weren't gonna let him go. He would say, "What? I shouldn't tell you this, but and my dad, all them years from the Brownfield all the way, and now I ended up on the street on a foreign name, Tacoma. That's in the school teacher ward. The house is still there. She checked it out, and he left about a year ago. He was 96 years old, my daddy. And anyway, but about that, and then I was in that neighborhood when I found out from another homeboy. He was in up into the mountaintop, but it don't matter to him now. But we got houses we never did build in Everybody on St. John Street had skeleton keys, and every key can fit everybody's door. I remember that, like milkman all down when I was a kid. But now Murphy in charge of the whole thing, and he almost about to let it go down the drain, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. If he listen to Tarzan over here, I got him look at him with his hand on his jaws. Look like bulldog kind of down south, and talking up, daring him to come across the bridge and stuff. But like I say, Martin Luther King got the mobile, Pink Pride, the youngest preacher up on the black male behalf. I remember I was in the fighting some white boys. I mean, we heard this voice over there, and I didn't know what that. Now I know that was Georgia boy, and everybody that didn't speak real fight.
Mr. Mitchell, you're not being germane to the hearing.
Hey, girl, I got what is up? Hey, wait, I got some more. My time ain't no business.
Mr. Mitchell,
like I say, girl, I'm talking about. I mean, look, like I was saying, I was over at Tacoma Street when King was. I met Billy Graham and King at the same time because their voices got a way of talking and when he died, everybody had it on the radio. I was going about my own business as a kid with them, and then I figured that's what it's all about. They ain't got no black people. They have no houses over there from St. John and all the way up to and through with this thing now, where y'all people don't want to.
And thank
like
you.
that woman don't
Thank
want to
you,
put
Mr.
in my school.
Mr. Mitchell, you will get a warning. Anyone else that would like to speak on behalf of the public hearing?
Happy birthday, R.L. Mitchell. You are very loved, so I'm so glad you're here every day. You're welcome. My name is Tom Padroni, and I'm an associate professor at Wayne State University. I research solutions to persistent racial inequity in predominantly black Michigan cities like Flint. It's not the responsibility of the residents of Flint to pay $72 million for the cleanup and preparation of the old GM Buick City site. The residents of Flint did not contaminate the site. GM did. The residents of Flint did not negotiate the bankruptcy settlement with GM. The US government did. And in that bankruptcy settlement, the US government did not say site cleanup and preparation was to fall on the shoulders of Flint residents. Instead, that responsibility fell to Racer Trust. Ashley Capital thinks it's easier to get Flint residents to pay for the site cleanup and preparation than it would be to get Racer Trust or the US government to follow through on its post-bankruptcy commitments. They grease the wheels with clever yet deceptive property tax arguments, lawnmowers, and candy. Is there needed cleanup or not? If there is needed cleanup on the site, then Racer Trust says on its website, Racer will clean up the properties to ensure that environmental conditions are not an impediment to sale or industrial reuse. If there is not needed cleanup, then how can brownfield tax credits be invoked for the cleanup? It can't be both ways. How can Racer Trust say that there is no contamination that is impeding the sale at the same time that Ashley Capital says Flint residents need to pay for removal of contamination that is impeding the sale? Do these wealthy organizations really think Flintstones are that stupid? Flintstones are not stupid. It's just that powerful people see blood in the water. And they've cozied up, as they always do, with politicians who will help out in the killing. They must figure if the state got away with poisoning 100,000 people in Flint, then certainly Ashley Capital can get away with extracting another 72 million from them. It must be almost comical from their perspective that the way overburdened residents of Flint would be made to clean up the old billionaires' leftover toxic mess for the benefit of the new billionaires in town. They must die laughing about this. Ashley hides the chicanery of its proposed of its proposal through clever graphs of property tax increases relative to the low property value of the Buick City land right now. But that land is only so lowly valued right now because other people, race or trust in the US government, broke their promises and left the land a mess. Flintstones hold a receipt in their hands from the US government that says the site needs to be delivered clean. Think about it. A clean site would be worth more, would generate more property taxes for the city, would attract bidders other than Ashley Capital, would not allow the bidders to try to extract $72 million from you to clean it up. Flintstones need their property taxes for better 911 service, better schools, better roads, better health services. They've carried enough burdens for the devastating mistakes of the powerful and wealthy who live and make deals far away from here and who have already shown their utter contempt for the people of Flint. Last sentence.
And thank you, sir.
Last sentence, please.
No,
May I
sir.
finish my last
No, sir. You have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Come on.
Next public speaker, please.
Yeah, Councilman Mays and President of the Flint chapter of the National Action Network, I echo verbatim what the professor from Wayne State just said, particularly to the commitments made on the cleanup, the bankruptcy commitments, and so since these goofy rules have been changed by this shady bunch, I'm gonna just say for the record, verbatim, I echo the professor. Hopefully, the council person in the 7th Ward heard it, because I use the word perfunctory. I don't like to go through just the motions. Been here a month, Ms. Michelle, I don't know what research you did, but we do business in the open, not behind closed doors. And I know there's been no due diligence done by this council as it relates to this project. The public hearing, I've been in office for 10 years. I represent 8,000 to 9,000 people, and when I hear council people say what the residents told them, you're lucky if it's 30 or 40. No council person is talking to 8,000 people on an issue and then coming in here, well, my resident said. It's ludicrous. It's impossible. Let me say this. I don't go off of how people talk. I go off of how they vote. I'm surprised to see this move with lightning speed out of committee. Mr. Murphy and Liddell Lewis, everything I heard tells me you should have abstained. But for those who are voting with Liddell Lewis and Quincy Murphy, hearing publicly what's been said, when 2 or 3 or more people conspire to do wrong with 2 people who do wrong, they just as wrong as the wrongdoer. I'm gonna repeat that again. When 2 or 3 people conspire with folks who was pointed out to do wrong, they just as wrong as the wrongdoer. And y'all keep listening to Attorney Kim, and you gonna probably end up right where he gonna end up. Let me say this. When you take illegal money and gifts, you could end up in the penitentiary, jail, prison. This needs to be sent to the FBI, the Attorney General, and everybody else with authority.
Thank you, Mr. Mays. Anyone else would like to speak at this hearing?
Hi, my name is Nadia Rodriguez. I'm president of the 7th Ward. As a resident of this city for the vast majority of my life, I'm thrilled to hear and see that things are happening at the former Buick City site. In my lifetime, I've seen it operational, I've seen it closed, I've seen it demolished, I've seen it rotting. Flint Commerce Center is an opportunity not only for jobs, but much needed tax revenue in this city. I regularly hear hesitancy when it comes to large firms that are unknown to the community, but to move forward, we have to embrace change or face being left behind. Without this plan, Ashley Capital cannot move forward, leaving behind a significant space that will continue to be blight in our community. I urge you, do not, I repeat, do not go the way of our local school board and let self-interest and grandstanding get in the way of progress. You have an opportunity to transform this area of our city. It is a large area of our city. I ride my bikes back there with my children. We talk about the past, what that area meant to this city, the damage that's been done in the past to the former residents of that area, and you have an opportunity now to do something different. The people who spoke before me, they're not wrong. They're not wrong in the fact that we have been taken advantage of as a community. But if we continue to sit here and think about what could have been and what should have been, rather than taking action today and doing something that's going to make our city have progress, to do good things, bring revenue, bring jobs to our community, then we're letting opportunities pass by, and we're leaving everyone standing here holding fictional receipts that get us nowhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public speaker, please.
Good evening, board. Claudia Perkins, 6th Ward. I'm in about 7 organizations, and we were really talking about this Ashley Capital tax break. And we had some reservations, so most of them opposed the tax capture for Ashley Capital. The city cannot afford to give the $72 million to Ashley. Community benefits agreements does not apply to the potential businesses. How do they know how many jobs if they don't have all vendors committed? Questions still out there about who will clean up the site, the PFAS. If tax capture raised taxes for residents, we cannot afford this. GM received numerous tax abatements from city council over the years, yet left us with closed plants and no compensation for leaving. GM left the toxic land, they should clean it up. These are notes from today's conversation. We want jobs, but this is not a fair deal for residents. Eagle and EPA must sign off on cleanup before a project can proceed. This is way too premature. Also, what is the definition of cleanup? This definition should be satisfactory to residents. Too often we gloss over this promise thinking that whoever is cleaning up is making the local air, water, and soil safer. We should be given a description and a guarantee before giving any cleanup funds. Yes, I know, we already gave them X amount of dollars for cleanup. By burying toxic materials that are now leaking and by dumping toxic materials into holding ponds or the river. They might be saying that the cleanup will be good enough for a commerce center. But what does good enough mean? And what exactly is the commerce center? The word commerce makes us think of financial and office space, but that isn't necessarily so. If they don't abate all toxins in Buick City, then Flint shouldn't abate their tax debt. And really, GM got away with a lot of things. We want new jobs. We want jobs. We're not saying we don't. But I think that a long time ago, we should have made GM clean up what they messed up. I really believe that. And yes, we want jobs, but we're true Flintstones, and we're warriors. We'll stand the test of time. And I don't believe that the split is right. I agree with Mr. Woodson on that.
And thank you, Ms.
50-50 or 60-40.
Thank you.
In our favor.
Next speaker, please.
Hello everyone, still Doug Matthews from the 7th Ward. I'd like to associate myself with the remarks of others from the 7th Ward who have described very succinctly and truthfully, I think, the enormous benefit of this proposed investment and what it brings to the city of Flint. I'd like to say that once again, this council has proved that no good deed goes unpunished. No good deed goes unpunished. I'd like to say to Mr. Pfeiffer, I don't hate you, but I'm not buying what you're selling. You gave an example, for an instance, that because Ashley Capital made a donation to Habitat of Humanity, a long-standing charitable organization, that you could go out and form your own charity and solicit donations for that. And that's a specious argument. It's apples and oranges. To tie small payments to local charities into people subverting their vote or voting because their charity receives a small benefit is borderline insulting. I also want to point out that what I've heard is that Ashley's donations have been made to organizations, not to individuals. They are not and never were personal gifts. You talk about transparency. They had no duty to report these gifts because they didn't personally benefit from them. All it is an attempt to obfuscate, to grandstand, and to try to squeeze the last nickel out of a company, one of the few in the nation that go in and rehabilitate brownfields. And let me just finish by saying, I admire people of conscience, but I don't buy that this is a conscious vote in terms of there's not even an appearance of impropriety in what's happened. And to say that there is disingenuous. And let me just say one thing to our out-of-town academic who's coming in here and criticizing what we're trying to put together. Where's his Bible? Where's his solution? What's he bringing to the table?
Excuse me. Excuse me. Please hold the time. Please hold the time. Excuse, sir, you're out of order.
Nonsense.
So, excuse me. Order in the chambers. Mr. Matthews has 3 minutes, like everyone else has 3 minutes. He can use his 3 minutes as he sees fit. In terms of, as long as he's germane. Go ahead. What's your point?
That's a decorum violation. That's a decorum violation.
Denied. What's happening is Mr. Matthews is using his 3 minutes, and what lacks decorum is he cannot be interrupted by outbursts from the audience, and that is a proof to again. I'm not going to go back and forth with the games. He spoke about what you spoke about. Hey, sir, this is not a back and forth. Please listen. What Mr. Matthews is using his 3 minutes, and then he's going to be seated. You are out of order. When you yell out, go back and forth with the chair, or when you yell out. It's according to the rules, and I can give you the specific rule. The rule is, for one, you must be recognized by the chair, 28.1. So you should not be speaking. Number 2, he has freedom of speech. And so, as we move on to give Mr. Matthews his time back.
Point of order.
What's your point?
I can hear Councilman Mays and all.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Mr. Mays, you're out of order. And if you persist to speak, you'll be asked to leave the meeting. According to our rules, you cannot disrupt the meeting. And that is also Robert Rules 4328.
Madam Chair, point of order.
Go ahead. What's your point?
I appeal the ruling of the chair.
That's fine. Any support? Any support? That died for support. So, moving on. Mr. Matthews.
Point of order. I support her appeal.
No, there's no point. I called for it.
Excuse me, you had to steal point of order, because here you go down this road.
There's
I
not
don't
a
understand.
roll.
You're chewing. We can't even understand what you're saying.
There's not a roll.
Excuse me. You are incorrect. You are, excuse me, point of order.
The chair has
The chair is not a dictator.
The chair. Let's get some order. Let's get some order. We will have order in the chambers. And so we're going to Ms. Winfrey Carter. She put a valid appeal the ruling of the chair on the floor. I called for support. No one responded in a timely manner. I went on, and as I was beginning to move forward, Ms. Burns interjected. She support. That support was too late.
Request for
And so
information. Request for information. I could not. You were eating. We can't understand what you're saying. You're still eating.
My request.
No, excuse me, Madam Chair, please.
Denied. So,
point of order. I will the ruling of the chair. We can do this all night then.
Very well.
And I support her appeal.
So we have an appeal to Mr. She appealed my ruling that Mr. Matthews is in order. And then we have. Excuse me.
Hey, why don't you get word, man?
Look at it. Excuse me. Excuse me. You have freedom to record. Council members have freedom to record. So let's proceed with the meeting, and we will not go back and forth. And then we have an appeal from the ruling of the chair, stating that Ms. Burns' support was too late. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and go into the first appealing of the ruling of the chair that Mr. Matthews was in the right for using his time, and that our guest speaker was out of order for talking without having the floor. Go ahead, Mr. Carter.
Oh, so you're gonna go ahead with that appeal?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So what's going on with Ms. Burns, Councilwoman Burns' appeal?
Well, that's next. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay. You know what, Madam Chair? Mr. Matthews was out of order. Mr. Matthews attacked the gentleman that's standing over there. Attacked his profession. Just attacked him. You didn't hear that? And started pointing at him. You can't do that. Now, I understand freedom of speech, but he diverted from what he was saying about the Brownsville to attack this man. That was uncalled for. That was out of order. And that's why I appealed your ruling. Thank you.
Ms. Worthy.
That's interesting. I was called prostitute by a audience member, and it was allowed for free speech.
She get in the mic, baby.
I was told that I was selling that was free speech. But just mentioning a person that's uptown who said no derogatory remarks. Make it make sense.
Next one, please.
Madam Chair.
Oh, thank you. Ms. Michelle.
Mr. Matthews, in my opinion, did not attack our guest from out of town. He turned to him and asked what his solution was. He said he brought up some issues and he would be interested in hearing his solution. I do not believe he meant it as an attack.
Anyone else like to speak?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
I agree with my colleague. I did not hear Mr. Matthews personally attack him. He just referenced him being a professor out of town and brought up a suggestion of what have he brought to the table as a solution. I did not hear any personal attack, but I do want to bring to my colleague attention that our councilman in the first ward that did public speaking earlier called a handkerchief head Negro earlier, and not one time did I hear my colleagues stop that, and I think it's wrong. I think it's disrespectful, and regardless of whatever people may think, my mother named me Quincy Murphy. I am sitting in the seat as Councilman Murphy, and I will not be called anything else. And anytime someone thinks they want to call me that, I'm going to stop them in their tracks. But we didn't. We allowed it. Not one person on this council said anything. And I just let it roll off. Because sometimes it ain't what people say about you, it's what you respond to. And I know I'm not that, so I try not to let that get to me. But we didn't stop that. This man did not attack this man personally. So if we're going to do it for one, let's do it for when the real attacks take place. And that's why he's not here now.
Oh, he'll be back.
Excuse me. So that is like the third time that you have spoken out. That is your warning. That is your warning.
There is a warning. Give it to me. Give that right your warning.
You're out of order and you are removed from this meeting. Metcalf or our police, please remove her from this meeting for being disorderly. Audience members, they are not allowed to call people wenches and yell out and take the floor.
I'm here.
Thank you.
If you did this, I'll get back.
Again, she does not have the floor. Please escort Miss Beverly Biggs Levy out of the room because she's in violation of the disorderly person city code subsection.
Quincy Murphy.
Excuse me, this is not your opportunity to talk on your way out. Ma'am, would you please exit? And would you please exit? Thank you, Officer Smith. Thank you for exiting Ms. Biggs Levy. You will not violate the disorderly person city code subsection. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. So as we're moving forward, let's see where we are. Mr. Murphy, you already spoke. You're done. Anyone else would like to speak?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Burns.
Chairing is not easy, and it's going to take a lot of criticism. And when I chaired, you used to criticize me. You often have a lot to say. Almost every meeting you chair is completely out of control. Completely. You don't follow the rules. You don't follow the charter. You make them up as you go. Because you told me you're going to give me 30 days because I need to learn the rules. I'm pretty good at the rules, and I'm pretty damn good at the charter. When we talk about that, Mr. Matthews is running for this to be appointed to the ethics board. He's going to be on the ethics board. Dr. Padroni is a well-known professor at Wayne State University. And so there should be a respect between those two colleagues. That wasn't done, Mr. Matthews. If you want to sit on the board, the ethics board, and here's nothing. You said you read the charter. I was here at that meeting. You are supposed to direct all of your comments to council, not the audience. You made those comments to Dr. Padroni. That was inappropriate. That's in the charter. You can't do that. And so when things like that.
Could you please read the section in the charter?
No, I'm not, because you don't follow the charter, and we gotta be out of here in 10 minutes, and we stuck up in this. And I'm gonna get back on track. You cannot refer the comments from the speaker is to go to the council, not the audience. This way we don't have what erupted into chaos. But things erupt into chaos because of how people lead their leadership and their energy, their vibe. And when the vibe is off, the council is off. And it's off. You cannot do that. You may find something, you may disagree. Well, separately, I found you to be a different person than you are when you're up here. I know you're coming for people on here and you want to be on the ethics board. You want to be appointed, but you're attacking people. That's not the way to get appointed. You attack my colleague personally, Mr. Pfeiffer, with what his decision is. you have said negative, disparaging, which I know were in reference to me, but I did tell you, I'll send you the copy of the check. Yes, there is proof. I don't speak in speculation. I do everything in transparency. And so I don't know what your motives are, I'm disappointed. But when we get this council and everything is out of order, you have to send your comments to us. We are here at a higher degree to where we're supposed to be able to suck up a lot of stuff. It's a lot to suck up. You're an attorney, you have a Harvard education. I know that there's something in you that knows to do better than that. Dr. Pedroni's position and your position is just that. You may not agree, but he has a right to his position. And he doesn't work on economic development, you see. He has a right to form his opinion and give it just like you. And you have to do it respectfully. You're in the courtroom, you're an attorney. And you're helping our process to not go well. That's not good.
And thank you, Ms. Burns. Anyone else would like to speak on this appeal? Anyone else? Being that there's no one else, I'll go ahead and speak. Mr. Matthews, he is protected under the freedom of speech. Mr. Mays came up and called the council colleagues handkerchief-head Negroes, and then none of our colleagues said anything. And then the argument of Mr. Mays swearing us out was based off of the fact that he had freedom of speech, hence the custom canoeists. Mr. Matthews, he just addressed the question. To me, it was rhetorical. But again, no one has to respond. Just like my request for information to how this was a violation of the charter, how she didn't respond. He don't have to respond if that was directed towards him. But what did happen, again, was that our guest member, a professor from Wayne State University, he was out of order. He was out of order according to Rule 28.1, because you were not recognized to speak. And because of Robert Rules 4328, you were disrupting the meeting with you going back and forth. So with that being said, the chair ruled that Mr. Matthews was in order, actually utilized his right for freedom of speech, just like Mr. Mays did when he called us handkerchief-head Negroes and other things. We have to operate above board and no one is exempt. No one is exempt. And so with that being said, the chair ruled that Mr. Matthews can continue to speak and finish up his time, which will be added back to the clock. And because we don't go back and forth, that's the violation of our rules. You can't argue with the rules. These rules were set forth by this body. They will be respected by this body. These rules were respected in court today. Council governs council. So therefore, we need these rules to be respected by this body. Whether you abstain from voting on them or not, these are the rules of this body. And we will follow these rules. I may be called a dictator, I'm cool with that, but we will follow these rules. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and call for the vote. And what it is, if you vote yes, you reverse the ruling of the chair. If you vote no, you vote to uphold the ruling of the chair. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Lewis.
No.
Mr. Murphy.
No.
Ms. Priestley. No. Ms. Murphy Carter.
Yes.
Ms. Burns.
Yes.
Ms. Bouchard.
No.
Mr. Pfeiffer.
Yes.
Ms. Worthing. No. The vote is 3 yes, 5 no.
The vote is 3 yes, 5 no. Ruling that the chair was not out of order and Mr. Matthews can proceed. But before we go, Mr. Matthews, you have one more. And just a side note, we have been granted permission to stay in the chamber until 10:30 so we can handle the city's business. So thank you so much, County Administration. So we're going to go on to our next appeal. And the appeal was that, okay, so Ms. Burns put an appeal on the floor saying that she was not too late to second, to second the appeal, okay? And so the chair said that she was because I proceeded to move forward. With that being said, go ahead, Ms. Burns.
Madam Chair, I will not waste the council's time. You did allow for Councilwoman Winfrey Carter. I could not understand that, was very clear. And you do understand it's sometimes hard to hear and you were eating at the time. So we can drop this. I want to finish hearing for public speaking. I think Mr. Matthews had approximately 7 seconds left, 15 left on the clock, so we can just go ahead and proceed.
Okay, thank you. All right, so do you have any second or just make a motion? All right, so.
Madam Chair, motion.
That'll work. Okay, so we're gonna, Ms. Sheila, please put 15 seconds back on the clock. Not a problem. All right.
Recognized?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Matthews.
All right. It greatly pleases me really to see that I'm disrupting what seems to be a concerted effort to denigrate this investor and to drive the investment away from the city. This will not be the first time that I'll cause an uproar.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Next public speaker, please.
George Brennan II, live on Persian Street, 1010 Persian Street. Born, raised, Flint, drank the water, all that stuff. My purview, which is very limited because I'm getting the information from you all and those that are informing us on other platforms, is that we're not getting the best deal that we can get. And I say that in the sense of who we are as Flint. This is the Silicon Valley of the industrial age. This is where the middle class was created. This is where the unions were perfected and built. This is where redlining was sat down. And so many things happen here. So the mindset and the people and the abilities that we have here are greater than what our current situation is. There are many businesses and millionaires that have come out of this city. There are many awesome creations that have come out of here. You know, me, myself, I had $200 million deals sitting on the table in 2017 and 18. That's when I learned what politics were. That's when I learned how evil people in this community were. And I had to deal with that. That's when I learned how Habitat for Humanity was an evil organization, when they didn't allow me to get the home that I was in, which was a work-live home. But all that aside, I still move forward. I do what I can. I never speak on people publicly about what I feel about them or think, because that's my business. But I would like us to get a better deal and spread the concept of knowing that we're worth more than what the first offer is. Anytime you do anything, you don't take the first offer. Anytime you do anything, you see what else. If somebody's interested in you, then there are other people interested in you, or organizations or companies. Just because they're not showing their hand doesn't mean that that's not the truth. Multiple things can be true at the same time. And I said what I said because I've sat at the table, $100 million deals in this city. I'm not just sitting here, a nappy-head Negro that don't have any background, that I don't have contacts to Washington, D.C., that I don't have contacts to the state of Michigan, that I have not served my country, and I have to deal with the things as a 100% service-disabled veteran. All these things are true at the same time. When I walk in the room, I don't have sides. I don't have anybody that I dislike. What I like is the business of our city and our county to be done correctly, for us to get the maximum pay or deal that we can, because we're worth it. Because we already put everything in place for people to want and need to come here. When Buell City shut down, the infrastructure was already put in place for the fiber optic lines, for so many different things that were supposed to be future deals or future things going on that were shut down for many different reasons. And I believe we should just look at what we're doing and get a better deal.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. Anyone else like to speak during this public hearing?
Peace and blessings to everyone. My name is White King Lewis. I live in the 9th Ward. And I was been listening about what's going on with the GM site. And I read a couple of articles that Whitmore was bringing in some Chinese companies that was attached to the brownfields tax, and I was wondering, are any of those going to be at the GM site? And then I wanted to say that I think it's really unfair that the citizens would pay $72 million and there's no guarantee that they can even get a job. And I also understand that I heard you say, if we get one job, that is good enough for me. But I don't think that's kind of fair when you're looking overall, because one person getting a job is not going to change anything in the city. But definitely, I hope you guys can come together and really think about what's best for the city and the people that's in the city, because they are the ones that are really hurting, and not for the ones that's just coming to get a money grab.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak at the public hearing?
Hi, good evening, Dylan Macalona, 7th Ward resident. I didn't plan to speak tonight, but I'll be quick and short. Tonight, you have the opportunity to transform this city for the folks here and for future generations. Please make the right choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Alfred Woodson. Man, this is a joke, for real. That $3 million is in a news article that came out 5 days ago. And if I'm not mistaken, she said it was all a bunch of bull crap. 3 years ago, they was only paying $1 million. This year, this past December, they paying $3 million now. Why can't we get the same thing? It shouldn't even be an argument. We're not against the project, we're against the 80-20 split. Why we keep on making millionaires, man? Go look up Climate Haven. Michigan is a climate haven. Everybody's coming to Michigan right now to buy land, and we still giving it away. We just gave that property away over at the airport. We gave the guy C3 Ventures who took $5.6 million before, just gave him some property. What is he doing with it? Ashley Trust don't tell the truth. Racial Trust doesn't tell the truth. Ashley Capital doesn't tell the truth. Every time I ask them something, they say EPA and Eagle is lying. They come up here and talk real swell. You know what he told us? He said, you told us that why would he pay $10 to make $5? He said it's capitalism. It's capitalism. It is. Off the back of the people. I call it a pyramid scam, Ponzi scheme. And you know what, man? Let me tell you something, Mr. Matthews. You haven't even been here long enough to even speak on what's going on here. For you to have the audacity to speak about somebody else. You don't know what we've been through with the water crisis and everything else. And for you to sit up here and speak like you know something, man, sit your butt down somewhere. For real. I'm serious. Miss Lewis, for you to say about those houses, those 5 houses, well, something is better than nothing. Won't you tell Ashley Capital the same thing? Y'all go with a 50-50 split or a 60-40 split. Tell them something is better than nothing. And for you to have the audacity to sit up there and talk about what 7th Ward should have, you ain't even take care of your own ward. Learn how to take care of your own ward. They still got doodle in the basement. For real, y'all look at the clock. I know you hate it. I know you hate me talking about you. Took $1,500 to get them $72 million for some Twix and some Butterfingers and some Reese cups. You're about nothing. You just got back too. Matter of fact, you ain't even came back yet because you still have a home in Maryland. Yeah, you're looking at it. You hate that talk. Yeah, take care.
And next public speaker, please. All right, so seeing that we don't have any more public speakers, this public hearing is now officially closed. Ms. Worthing?
I make a motion that we vote immediately on the resolution that goes into this public hearing. Resolution.
Point of order.
What's your point?
Requesting changes for additions are already passed. We already passed that in the agenda. And hearing this motion is not appropriate.
So You said at that time in the 1 second, I will refer to legal. One second, and just as a reminder, council has until 11:30 to remain in the county chambers. My fault, 10:30. Central Standard Time. Okay. All right. Your point of order is granted, Mr. Pfeiffer. So it is not in order at this time. So now we are on to public speaking.
My name is Tom Pedroni. I have order.
Next public speaker, Ms. Allinger.
Our first public speaker is Doug Matthews.
Hello, everyone. I'm still Doug Matthews from the 7th Ward. I'm here to delve into important matters impacting our city and its council. We've already explored 5 tricky tactics used by certain politicians that sow division: fear-mongering, populist appeals, polarizing rhetoric, divisive behaviors, and conspiracy theories. We've talked about the dangers these tactics bring, offline and online. Today, let's delve deeper into how specific politicians manipulate social media to shape public opinion and spread misinformation. Stick with me on this. Our world is filled with information, especially on social media. While it's a tool for communication, it's also a hub where false narratives can quickly spread. Unfortunately, some politicians exploit this platform. Many politicians realize the immense power of social media. Some use it to rile up their followers, push their agendas, and amplify grievances. Sometimes they share stories that aren't the whole truth. At times, they even resort to shocking behavior to further their own undisclosed objectives. Think Donald Trump and people like him. As we navigate the digital landscape, it's essential to approach the information it feeds us critically. We should verify sources, question the accuracy, weigh motives, and ensure we have a complete picture. This becomes even more vital when politicians use strong language, dramatic behavior, and conflict to grab our attention, or our clicks, or our money. Differentiating real content from misinformation on social media is a critical skill. We need to excel at separating facts from opinions and falsehoods. It's wise to double-check information before accepting it as true, and we should know that some politicians might try to upset us on purpose, so we need to be careful not to fall for it. As responsible citizens, we should demand transparency and honesty from politicians. We can hold them accountable when they use social media to create discord or to advance their own goals. By working together, we can counteract the tricky tactics employed by unscrupulous politicians. Combating social media trickery requires courage, critical thinking, and fact-checking, but it pays off in a more cohesive and informed community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Next public speaker, Madam Clerk.
The next speaker is Joel Arnold. Joel Arnold. The next speaker is R.L. Mitchell.
Hello, Council. I'm R.L. Mitchell. And just like the man just got through saying, people's in here say certain things like some army men come in here and they left, they stayed in here everything about, they got me stationed in Vietnam, and I ain't never went to Vietnam, and they want to know how I got back in the United States. Is that ain't what that man talking about? What is it? And like like I don't pay taxes. Like that woman over there on over on Court. There's been 2 deaths over there, 2 shootings up in her building. She ain't mentioned nothing about it, and they be shoot people every day up in there, right across the street from Whittier Junior High School, where my last junior high, I went to 8th grade, and this boycotted me over to McKinley. And talking about the funding from the 70s, talking about that's what is special, her area. The old peoples, they done died off now it's time of my generation, she don't want, they ain't was here, they was reckon to see the results of the whole council. Just like when they built the 5th Ward thing, there used to be a senior citizen, now all of them died off, and now they tore down the buildings, and like, we the people can't see that junk. I went to Atherton Terrace today. I went over from Atherton Terrace to Evergreen Valley. I went through there, and they tearing it down right now. I like to know why they don't know what their plan gonna be. And they got all the peoples in there don't allow them to have no pets and all that junk. Like a okie dokie, and they put the Atherton Terrace over there on Saginaw Street with 1 year, now look, about that Martin Luther King stuff I was talking about when I was coming up, I was from the south side, when they was cutting me off, I heard his voice when they was getting ready to fight. We couldn't do nothing because his voice was in the air. It's a sit down and table with brotherhoods, and the black man sit down and table with woman slave owners, and that's what the only thing happened. The white boys is getting with us. They agreed that the white people's doing the darkies wrong. And we just come to the point, but they were slipping us off to Vietnam, and we was just worried about the white boy gonna shoot his old man in the back. But they got rid of Nixon, and I can't have to talk about this now because all day. This city is gonna be dealt with, whether you like it or not. All you, whatever that's handkerchief Negroes and stuff, a doctor inside Negro, a field Negro, take that to 'em.
Next public speaker. Next speaker is Eric Mays.
Yeah, Councilman Mays talking fast on this clock. You know, we will have our 1st Ward seat, and the 1st Ward will be represented. The new council people will learn something. We're going to teach you a lesson in political science. Some of y'all will be on the ballot for recall. Right now, most of the signatures for Liddell Lewis has been gotten. She will be on the ballot. Then we'll move to Miss Worthen's ward. She will be on the ballot. Some folks gonna be gone, just like Kate Fields, Maurice Davis, Griggs, and the others. So y'all enjoy being discriminatory. Y'all enjoy being unlawful. And don't be nervous if you get investigated for taking bribes and money. Miss Worthen laughing, think it's funny. That's because she ain't Liddell Lewis and Quincy Murphy. But we gonna laugh when them signatures get signed in the 9th Ward, and then we get out there in droves and put a good candidate against you. And remember what I'm saying, he or she who laughs best. I told Kate Fields that. I told Maurice Davis that. I told Mr. Griggs that, and I'm saying on the record, I'm telling you that today, Miss Laughing Worthy. He or she who laughs last, laugh best. Get you a supplemental income because you won't free ride this council no more. And you won't be the swaying vote to unlawfully suspend me. See, we know the court ruled one way last week and another way this week. But I got confidence in my lawyers and mental law group. I got confidence in the Court of Appeals and other judges. He or she who laughs last, Miss Worthing, since you had to laugh out loud where I could hear you standing here, laugh best. And I'm not laughing. You can shake your head in agreement, you can play it off. I had a student come to me from Hamilton School today telling me you be talking about me in the classroom. I hope I'm in your worst nightmares. Because reality, we coming at y'all. Crooked politicians, corruption.
Thank you, Mr. Mays. Next public speaker.
Excuse me, the next speaker is Dolores Johnson. The next speaker, Dolores Johnson.
Why are you talking to me? Why are you
Excuse me, order. Mr. Mays. Mr. Mays. We have a point of order. Was that Ms. Burns?
Council members cannot have any type of discourse with members of the audience. And she did, we can hear her. She said something. She needs a warning. She cannot talk to people in the audience. I think that's 26.2. In the room. She needs to be warned, please.
Point of order. I was talked to by Mr. Mays just earlier in my council seat, so.
Alright, so, according to Rule 27.2, council members cannot argue with the audience. And I didn't hear an argument, but Ms. Worthing, thank you. So Ms. Worthing, she said that she said something to Mr. Mays and he said something back. However, according to Rule 27.2, council member is not to argue with the audience. So your point of order is granted. Yeah, Ms. Worthing, we can't go back and forth with the audience. Okay. So go ahead.
Point of order.
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, is that a warning? Councilman Pfeiffer stated he had even heard he was shaking his head in agreement. And that is going to cause conflict. Public speakers, as you stated, can say what they want to say. For public, we're entitled to public freedom of speech. Councilman Mays was a resident, he's not from his council seat. So his comments at the podium do not have anything to do, those are separate issues. So with her talking with him, and she was speaking to him in the banter. So she should be issued a warning according to Rule 27.2, which states during any portion of any meeting, council members may not engage in any type of argumentative discourse with members of the audience at any time for any reason. And she did have argumentative discourse with him.
All right, thank you, Ms. Burns. So according to Rule 27.2, Ms. Worthing, that is your first warning, okay? All right. So as we move on, we are we on our next public speaker?
Next speaker is Frank Harrelson. Next speaker is Pastor Reverend Freelon Threlhill. Next speaker is George Grundy. Next speaker is Dennis Sykes. The next speaker is Dion Freeman.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Dion Freeman. I just wanted to give you all an update on the Blight Essay Contest. I did review the area where the children lived, and that area did not really need any cleanup. However, the children and I are committed to doing a cleanup in the first ward. So Councilman Priestley, I would like to work with you on identifying an area still within the fourth ward where the children are, so we can do our cleanup this summer. That's the first thing. The second thing is, today was the third recall hearing that I went to put in recall language for Councilman Mays. I did put in 3 petitions. 2 of them were granted, and I rescinded the third one because it was unnecessary. So those of you in the public that don't understand the recall process, now there's a 10-day period where he can make an appeal to the situation, and then once we go through the appeal, if the appeal is not overturned, the ruling, then we will start collecting signatures. So I just wanted to say there are a lot of things going on in the city, and there are a lot of things to come. So we just want to continue to move towards having a peaceful council and having proper representation in the first ward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Freeman. Anyone else, Madam Clerk?
Next speaker is Bobby McCamala.
Eli.
Next speaker is Joaquin Lewis.
Peace and blessings once again, Council. My name is Joaquin Lewis. I live in the 9th Ward. And a couple of days ago, I've seen a video from Councilwoman Lewis that we're calling the residents of Flint janky. I am a voter. I'm a registered voter. And I was offended. And the reason why is because what did the city do for you to call them those names? And for 2, a lot of people have lost faith in this politician thing, this voting thing, because of corruption and lies. And I usually look at people on how they move and not exactly what they say. And it seems like your movement matches the statement on the video when you called the city janky, the residents janky, the water janky. I think that was a little over the top, and an apology would be wonderful. And Miss Ava Worthington, I've been sitting here watching you record everybody. You recorded Councilwoman Burns, you recorded Mr. Mays, and some people who were sitting there. Like, you're always disengaged when it comes to the forum because you're always on your phone recording. So I don't think that's kind of professional. You know, we can clean it up a little bit. It might be okay. But thank you. You all be blessed.
All right, any more public speakers, Madam Clerk?
The next speaker is Claudia Perkins.
She left.
Tom Pedroni.
Thank you, Council. I want to acknowledge that there were 2 things that Matthew said that were in fact correct. I am from out of town, and I had not yet proposed solutions, although that's what I'm at the mic for right now. I ran out of time before. I am out of town. Because I have the time, I'm going to utilize it. One of my best friends is Kurt Guyette. Kurt Guyette is also from out of town. I just spoke with him this past weekend. Kurt Guyette is the one who worked with citizens in Flint to help document that the lead was citywide. And he also faced a lot of pushback initially when he came out. So there's some people who will say that if people are from out of town, which is what Matthew said when he pointed to me, that would be a reason to be dismissive. I hope you don't do that. I've spent at least 20 years researching inequality in predominantly Black cities. And although I'm relatively new to the Flint context, I've been working in Detroit, Benton Harbor, Inkster and many other places, okay? So that's just some context, but Doug is right. I am from out of town. He's right about that. And he's right that I didn't yet talk about solutions. And so that's what I'll do with the remainder of my time. So this is the part that I wanted to say to finish up, but didn't have time to do so. City Council, you should bring that receipt. Remember I talked about that receipt for the guaranteed cleanup to the US government. Sue them if necessary, and demand that the promised decontamination be delivered in full. That's your role. Put that receipt in the face of the US government. Don't hand over Flint residents' $72 million birthright for its children and grandchildren to deceptive billionaires. And I want to say more because that might sound pie in the sky. In fact, when I spoke with one of the representatives from Ashley Capital, that's kind of how we referred to it. But we actually know concretely how the political process works, and we have friends, right? Many of us are close to the Whitmer administration. We all know Pamela Pugh very well, who is obviously in the area of health. We know Rashida Tlaib well. There are representatives who do not have the last name Neely, who might be approached as well to say, you know what, we could really use some help here. You know, Flint residents had nothing to do with the GM settlement. And I understand that PFAS have been discovered and other things that were not known about the site, and that the money that was allocated to Razor Trust has run out. We understand that. I understand that very well. But the US government is there to solve problems. Why do we feel we have a Democratic administration right now, which might be very friendly to these concerns?
Thank you so much.
Okay, I can help with that.
Next public speaker. And just for the record, according to the council rules, you don't get the right to wrap up. So we're not being rude, just want to make sure that we're being fair across the board, okay? So thank you for your comment. Go ahead, Mr. Woodson.
Oh, she gonna call it out. You gotta answer.
The last public speaker is Mr. Arthur Woodson.
I just wanted to be right, have her be right, or whatever. All right, let's start off with, if they remove the slab, what contamination is up under the slab? And then once they disturb whatever's up under the slab, Razor Trust isn't responsible for that. Does Ashley Trust come and ask us for more tax abatement because it might cost even more? Why hasn't Ashley Trust came to y'all with an itemized list, since they have it all the way down to the cent, what they're gonna be doing? Why are they talking about wells when Eagles said, and Mr. Murphy was there, that Razor Trust is responsible for all the wells? Let me tell y'all something, man. This right here sounds just like Outer World. Windmill. Where are they? Where are those buildings? That's what this sounds like, man. Because they can't guarantee you 2,000, 3,000 jobs. They just building the buildings. He said they building it on faith. And then he said, why would he pay $10 and make $5? He said it's capitalism. Capitalism off of us. I'm gonna say this. Mr. Murphy said, somebody online talking about $20. You didn't hear the whole thing. I said, people, when you were on this side of the podium, you fought against people like yourself now, that's siding with Ashley without doing due diligence and asking Eagle and EPA. I said I drove all the way back from my doctor's appointment because they wouldn't even give you a grant. They wouldn't even give you anything, and you was cleaning up Dewey Park. And you kept coming down here begging them for money to help you. But now, since you councilman, you don't understand the fight anymore. That 9-mile stretch of pipeline that they sold Genesee County and said that we would never need it again. We was locked in to the Flint River. I'm gonna say this before I sit down, because you know, like I said, 50-50, 60-40. A white liberal, not all white liberals, are the most racist people in the world, because they know what to say to you, and they know how to say it to you. Either worthy, Mr. Matthew, those are some racist people, because they know what you want to hear. Civil rights, abortion. And then when they get you, they got you. They do whatever they want. That's how they are. They have the white savior complex. Look it up. That's them. Thank you.
Next public speaker, Madam Clerk.
That was the last public speaker.
Okay, so that concludes public speaking. Now it's time for council response. Any council members would like to respond to the public? Ms. Worthy.
If you ever see me up here taping, it is for my own safety. I have been threatened. I just was called a wench. I've been called a bitch. I've had people say that I deserved to be hurt. I can't remember the exact words. Some council members themselves can get pretty scary. It is within my rights to video just like it is within theirs. I don't like it when people come up behind me, say things to me, and video me, and nothing is done about that. So yes, I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to record so I have record of what is being done. So just to clarify, and I know there was more that was said, but that's all I really want to say. Thank you.
Anyone else would like to respond to the public?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Burns?
I don't know if there's a council Karen handbook or whatever. Some of these comments are ridiculous.
Thank you. What is your point? Ms. Burns, that is correct. So let's not.
Appeal the ruling of the chair.
That's fine. It is an appeal of the ruling of the chair.
And I support her appeal.
And it's supported by Ms. Winfrey Carter. So what the appeal is so Ms. Burns is appealing the chair's decision on Ms. Worthing's point of order that it was proper. And the point of order was regarding Ms. Worthing being called a Karen.
Point of order, that's not what I said, so you're incorrect.
Okay, well, please respect.
I'm gonna correct you. I said, is there a Karen handbook? I didn't call her Karen.
Okay.
I did not.
So, Ms. Burns used a derogatory statement.
Point of order. I did not say her name, so that is not factual. I did not state that Councilwoman Eva Worthing was a Karen or she's in the. I did not. I didn't even say her name. I did not. You made an assumption. I did not. And then you stopped. She point of order. That's not how it went. So your recollection, Madam Chair, is incorrect.
Okay. So, Ms. Burns appealed the ruling of the chair because the chair ruled that using the term Karen was out of order and derogatory. Okay? All right. So, with that being said, please proceed, Ms. Burns.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for correcting that, because one thing, the record, we should make sure that it's factual. It is a fact that during council meetings, Councilwoman Eva Worthing has taken pictures of me. Just took me and Councilwoman Winfrey Carter. When she states what she went through prior, I have nothing to do with that. That was not even this council. We didn't say she used the word bitch. You didn't correct her on that. She used that language. You should have corrected her. And you didn't. And I don't know if that's freedom of speech, but you let her get away with everything. It's Then Councilman Murphy, when he says we don't defend him, I remember too many people defending me. When I tell my children that they want to hang their mother, that is a hate crime. That is a federal crime. So when we talk about who protected who and all, y'all need to stop that stuff. You need to stop it. She makes statements and she just doesn't care what she said. But I take a necktie party as very serious. Now, my statement was, is there a Karen handbook? You didn't allow me to finish. You didn't know who I was even talking about. So for you to make that assumption it would be the councilwoman in the ninth ward, I don't know if you're saying that because you feel she is, but I had not stated that. I would have stated, I'm very clear with my words. Very clear. But y'all in each other's pockets so tough, and we get down to 10:06, and we are still here, and maybe they're gonna give us another extension. When you fall in line to protect her, you didn't even let her get out. And she shouldn't be taking videos. It's unprofessional, which is one of her favorite words. It's so unprofessional to be taking videos, to be taking pictures. She hasn't been in danger. She stood up twice to want to fight me. Twice in one meeting on 5/3, and then she did it again on 7/19. So we're not fair. And no one decided to give her a warning. Nothing has been done to her, not ever. So it needs to be fair around here.
Thank you, Ms. Burns. Anyone else like to speak on the appeal?
Yes, Madam Chair.
I heard Ms. Winfrey Carter, and then I believe that was Ms. Morgan. All right, go ahead.
Madam Chair, I supported the appeal because clearly you did not allow Councilwoman Burns to finish her sentence. She didn't call her out of her name. How do you know she was talking about Miss Worthy? We do need a Karen handbook. We need a lot of handbooks up here. Because I'm sitting here, I'm just totally confused. We need the handbooks. But, the councilwoman in the 9th ward, she continues to play the victim role. But she sits in every meeting talking under her breath, taunting other council members, baiting other council members. It needs to stop. And you have to be fair. Never give her a warning. You never give Councilwoman Worthing in a warning. You just gave her one tonight. I was surprised. You did. I was surprised. You did. But, come on. You gotta be fair. And, you should have allowed Councilwoman Burns to finish her sentence. You didn't even let her, finish the sentence. She could have been talking about something else. But Councilwoman Burns, we do need a Karen handbook up here because this is getting hard. Thank you.
All right, anyone else would like Ms. Worthy?
I heard we need a Councilwoman Karen handbook. It was stated right after I spoke. Also, I would just like to point out that the council person in the 6th ward keeps referring to, I don't know what she's referring to, hangings and other things, as if I would have said or have said anything of that matter. She is incorrect, and I want to clarify that. Her attempts to portray me in a negative light are noted. Every single meeting and every single opportunity she has on social media and elsewhere. I don't talk like that. I simply called a point of order because I was called a Councilwoman Karen. That is racist. It is inappropriate and unbecoming for an elected official. Let us speak on the matter at hand, and without making racist remarks. Thank you.
Point of order.
What rule's been broken?
Madam Chair, Black people cannot be racist.
That's an improper point of order, Ms. Burns. So please don't, just 1 second, please. So Ms. Burns, please don't use the floor, with privileged motions like that. Proceed, Ms. Michelle.
Madam Chair, I'm gonna abstain for the simple fact that two things can be true. We all know when you say Karen, it's not directed at a Black person, but she also did not finish her sentence. So I'm gonna abstain, but let's be clear. We all know what it means, but she didn't finish her sentence.
Anyone else would like to speak on appeal? Anyone else like to speak on appeal? Excuse me. Well, being that no one else like to speak, I'll be the one to speak. The definition of Karen is a term used as a slang for a middle-class white woman who is perceived as entitled or demanding beyond the scope of what is normal. When we should not use those terms, those derogatory terms, towards our colleagues. And so for those that say that they know the charter, that's in section 3-104. And it talks about how the council members are expected to conduct themselves with appropriate decorum and act respectfully. If somebody would have been like, we have the ghetto handbook, we would have went wild in here. So let's go ahead and be fair. Let's not use those terms. There's no reason that we even have to go there. Stop with the personal attacks and just get to the business. And again, no matter who it is, we're going to go by these rules. And there's no exception. So you can abstain, you can do as you may. We already know where we're going. We were talking about the needing of a Karen handbook. And we know that the definition of Karen is being a middle-class white woman. A middle-class white woman just finished speaking. What was she talking about? That's why I acknowledge her point of order. Let's go on with the games. Let's utilize decorum. Let's stop talking at people and against people. And so with that being said, if you would like to overturn the ruling of the chair, you vote yes. If you are voting with the chair in support of Mrs. Worthing's point of order, saying that using the term Karen towards cop in a council meeting is inappropriate, you vote no to support the chair. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Murphy.
No.
Ms. Priestley.
No.
Ms. Winfrey Carter.
Yes.
Ms. Burns.
Yes.
Ms. Mouchette. Mr. Pfeiffer.
I abstain because I didn't know that there was no such thing.
Ms. Worthing. Ms. Lewis.
No.
The vote is 2 yes, 4 no, 2 abstentions.
The vote is 2 yes. How many no?
4.
4 no. And 2 abstentions. So the ruling of the chair will stand. And so we were going to go back to council comments. And I believe Ms. Burns, she still has some more time on the clock. And I'm going to encourage Ms. Burns, let's not use disparaging words to her colleagues. Let's respond to the business. Go ahead. You got it? Let me know when. Okay. Ready? Go ahead.
But I don't need your encouragement, Madam Chair. I do not. When you stood up and let things be said, this woman just said during this council meeting, bitch, and she was not warned. You allow language to be used by her. She has called, and it's been consistent. When we have former President Allen, I don't know where it was here, she would cuss out everybody. She would constantly cuss out people. And we were not put in any type of team building or training or anything. When she takes pictures of the audience, that is completely unprofessional. That's unprofessional. That's the essence of unprofessional. And she'll be the first one to say, that's so unprofessional. I've been called this. I don't know what she went through with other council, but I can tell you she is now operating with clean hands. It is a very true statement that, yes, I will state again, she stood up on 5-3, not once, but twice, to incite violence. And she wanted to fight, put her hands on her hip, and stumped her foot and said, get over here. Then on 7/19, she did it again. And then she said, you know, we all know you're not going to get out your chair. Then when someone gets up out the chair, she becomes the victim. So if you had let me finish my statement, that type of behavior, there's a category, there's a name for that type of behavior. I didn't make it up, but she becomes the victim. She's not a victim. She cussed at people, she's rude, she's tried filing false police reports, said I chased her around the jail, the county jail, that didn't happen. So you continue to protect her, even when she said, and I appreciate you warning her today, because Attorney Katina Urban in California stated when she sent that entire brief, basically, that she wanted you to have the courage to warn her. And tonight, you did have the courage to warn her. So thank you.
Next public speaker, not next public speaker, excuse me. Next person for council response. Next person for council response.
Madam Chair.
That is Ms. Michelle.
So, as always, appreciate everyone that did stick around and stay. I know it is late. It is 10:17. I was hoping that we would get through more of our actual agenda. I guess I'm thankful for what we did get through in committee. As always, I would encourage everyone to be respectful, encourage everyone not to use colored language or make others feel threatened. I just really want better for us. I want more for us. I wish we would have had the opportunity to get to the parliamentarian part of this because I feel like it is much needed. I would love for us to get there, lay out some language on what that looks like for us and get a parliamentarian in here so that we can start working on everyone knowing and following the rules and then everyone actually exercising some decorum. That would be great. I know that the residents who stick around, I would greatly appreciate that as well. That's all.
Anyone else for council comment?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Thank you so much. Just for the record, our speaker, Art Wilson got up and spoke that no one, support me grant-wise. And I just want to go down the list of some of the things, and I just had to go back and look at some of the people who have supported me over the years. If anybody know who Johnny Tucker was, up under his leadership, we was able to get $60,000 to do a playground at Dewey Park. We did the next. We also received the next level grant for $25,000 to do new basketball courts with the Community Foundation in Greater Flint. We also received a $5,000 neighborhood small grants. We also work with St. John Evangelistic Work Camp Group to do projects in Dewey Park and in the community where we fixed up people's homes. We worked with community ventures at Mott College with the youth where they came out and did work in the community. Last year, we was able to work in collaboration with the Sylvester Rome Center to receive a grant for $85,000 to do a mini pitch soccer field over at Dewey Park. We also received a $2,500 grant, a $60,000 community development block grant. We work with West Flint Church of the Nazarene boarding up houses, and my family, the Murphy family, the Summers families, and just the community has always helped work with us in the community. We work with the Sylvester Rome Center. We work with the Drifters Motorcycle Club, and we also work with Lear Corporation. So don't believe that didn't nobody ever want to give Councilman Murphy any grants. And then there was a comment made that Councilman Murphy be cutting the grass over there where my mother lived. I've never cut the grass down there because I got a brother and sister that's been cutting grass for my mother and cutting vacant lots in that community. And if y'all see me cutting grass while the allegations is out there that I've cut grass, it ain't me, it's my brother or my sister. I never
Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
cut a piece of grass down there by my mother.
So,
Thank you.
next council speaker for council response.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Winfrey Carter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I would like to thank all of the public speakers. Thank you for being engaged in the process. Thank you for your input. your opinions. Thank you for bringing forth your issues. And just thank you for being here. I wanted to touch on something that Dr. Pedrani said. And Dr. Pedrani, I just want to let you know that you are absolutely correct. We should demand that the U.S. government clean up that site. The residents here in the city of Flint should not be responsible. We should not be responsible for that site at all. And the U.S. government owes that to us. But as far as the Ashley Capital project, I'm not against jobs. I'm not. But what I am against, I don't think it should be an 80-20. It should be a 50-50. We should not have to settle for nothing less. We shouldn't have to settle. And I'm tired of people coming here lowballing us. It's not right. It's not fair. And when I look at the city of Livonia, whereas they're getting $3 million, $3 million
Thank you,
of
Mr.
taxes.
Carter. Anyone else would like to speak? Is it Mr. Pfeiffer?
Like my colleague said, thank you for sticking around. This is democracy. This is sometimes a dirty process, sometimes an ugly process, but I think with all of the conversations tonight, it was a productive night, even though we may not finish our agenda. I think discourse and having discussions and debate is a good, productive thing, even when there's conversations and debate that you don't agree with. It's always good to hear the other side. I will say that I'm glad that my message is getting across. I believe a certain person of the audience saying that they don't buy what I'm selling. Good, that's my message is getting across good, because if you're not buying it, it means I'm not selling it and I'm not for sale. I've said it before, I'm not for sale. So if you're not buying it, my job is working. And my dialogue, the what I'm portraying in communicating out is working. So thank you for that.
Next speaker. Any more council speakers? Seeing that there's none, I'll go ahead and utilize my time. Democracy is what people have died for. So I support it wholeheartedly. If the second ward wants Liddell Lewis gone, I'll be gone, not a problem. But please note that as we go forth and solicit signatures, please note that you can't send children up to the doors. Been getting reports that children have been used as a part of this process to come to the doors. Furthermore, we can't go to people's houses after dark. Furthermore, we can have a discussion with the clerk if you have any question about that. And then next, you can't harass residents. If they tell you no, you turn around and go. You don't tell them to do their research and tell them I'll come back if you need to. We have a lot of things that have been captured on people's ring doorbells. So if you want me gone, do it above board. And also, let's not tell the residents that I'm not doing anything. Because we all know that that's not true. Been working hard in the second ward, as well as the city of Flint for quite some time. We'll continue to. But the recall language said that I didn't attend a meeting in May. Let's stick to that, because that's why you're recalling me. We don't have to fabricate things. But at the end of the day, if they want me gone, I'll be gone. Otherwise, I will continue to serve with a smile, because that's what I do. And if you would like to be a part of our second ward community conversation, which takes place tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, and for those that rise late, 5:30. We will be there. Lunch and dinner will be provided. We will be discussing environmental issues. We will have our 10 minutes with Michigan United, who are there to check our residents every single meeting. And moreover, we will have the legal services of Eastern Michigan. See, that's what service look like. So if you recall me, you don't know who will give it to you. So thanks a lot. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. Ms. Priestley?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda. Any support?
Support.
Supported by Ms. Worthing. Any separations?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Burns?
Yes, there are separations. Because I cannot approve a consent agenda because I am not in agreement with the ARPA and it'd be a conflict of interest. So we're gonna have to go through this. So item number one, I'm gonna separate. We did not get a chance to get into some of the issues. We need to separate 230283. We need to separate.
So real quick, Ms. Burns, I think Ms. Donahue would like to address that because those items were not referred. They were still held in special affairs.
Okay, Matt, thank you. Which items are not? Can you make it clear for us?
Ms. Worthing?
There were a number of items that were just on your council agenda. So, on the consent agenda, it includes appointments 230230, 23027.
Can you hold just a second, please?
On page 3, starting with appointments.
Okay.
On the council agenda, 230230, 230272, 230273, 230275, 230280. Point 1, I'm sorry. Also includes 230284. The other two are still on count, special affairs.
The other, I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, I couldn't hear you.
So appointment 230282 and 283 are still a part of the special affairs agenda.
Okay.
They were not moved. Under resolutions, it includes every resolution that was listed as a part of the council agenda, which includes 230257, 258.
Okay, Madam Chair, so you're stating that 230257 will not make it?
No, these are ones that are on the consent agenda. These are part.
This is on the consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
230257, 258, 259, 260, 261, 262, 264, 265, 266, 267, 269, 270, 270.
Just a second, we're flipping pages. 269 or 230279? Which one was it, please?
We're on page 6, starting with 265, 266, 267, 269, 270, 271, and 279. Items that were moved from special affairs as part of this consent agenda include 230211, 230225.2, 230233, 230249.
49?
Yes. 30253. 230263. 230274. All the other items will stay on the special affairs agenda.
Okay. So we did not get to 23026-257.
Which page is that?
5.
It is a part of the consent agenda.
I went separate. Okay, so it is 2302, which one's that, 257? 257.
Which one's? It's 3 8.
That one is page 5.
You separating that one?
Yes, 230257.
Okay.
At the top of page 5. And I want to separate also 230270, McLean Street Sweepers. We did not get to all the ARPA ones. We had, we did 2302 for 230250, we did that one, 2302.
I didn't understand. Can you repeat that?
I'm talking out loud, Madam Chair, I apologize. 230252. That one is on the consent agenda, correct? That one's not? What about 230253?
Yes, it's on the consent agenda.
Now, that one, it's ARPA, I can't vote on that one, so I have to separate that.
Page 1.
Page 11. 230254.
254 is not on the consent agenda.
What about 256?
It was postponed in special affairs. It's still on.
Okay. What about 230274?
Yes.
I'm going to separate that one. And also we keep not getting to this, and we need to handle this, 230276. And I think there's 3 that work together in that one. The 3.
The ordinances were not,
They didn't make it. Okay. And that's it for me.
Any more separation?
Madam Chair, I think also the 230249.
49?
That's the, my community college homeowner education classes.
Okay, so you said separate that?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's all of the ARPA ones.
Any more separation? Mr. Pfeiffer?
2302252.
Is that all? Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote for the consent agenda. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Priestley,
Yes.
Ms. Murphy Carter,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Mashat,
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer,
Yes.
Ms. Worthing,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Vote is 8 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 8 yes, 0 no. The consent agenda has now been approved. Now we move on to our first separation of the night.
Point of order.
What's your point?
I just want to clarify, did we get a time extension because we're past that?
Yes.
The extension was
Yes.
to 10:30, and then I was informed that as long as you can handle your business quickly, that Mr. Freeman is trying to wait until you're done.
Okay. All right, so the first separation, the chair would like to entertain motions.
So moved. I make a motion to approve 230257.
Motion on the floor to approve 230257.
Yes, ma'am. I believe, that's, excuse me. Yeah, that's the first one on my list. I mean, whatever makes more sense. No, go ahead and state that one. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
230257.
All right, any support? What about Ms. Worthing? Any discussion?
Madam Chair, is
Vern?
Chief Green still here?
No.
Is Mr. Edwards here?
Yeah.
So he's getting out of his seat. I'll give you a moment to read it. You probably weren't ready for it. It's on page 5 at the top. And it would have been for Chief Green, and it's stating for the police department. Looks like renovation.
What's the number again? I'm sorry. What's the number?
30257.
257.
It's at the top of page 5, if you have the agenda.
I'll have the council meeting agenda. That's not. It was from special affairs, right?
No, it should be on council, the final agenda for council, meeting agenda.
What,
final.
which page again?
Page 5, at the very top.
Yeah, but I want the resolution. I got the resolution.
So as the time is winding down, because my concern is, and you may not know this, but I want to have this on the record. One of the concerns, we talked about renovations, the female locker room for the women police officers is in a complete disarray. And I want to make sure that we're taking care of our female police officers because they have complained about the renovations. The sink is coming apart from the wall. There's problems with ventilation. It has not been done since actually it was created and women were hired on the police force in 1969. So it's been a very long time. And so the female officers don't feel comfortable changing their clothes in there, and it needs some work. We know that the Flint Police Department first started, it did not employ women, and I want to make sure that our women police officers are being taken care of. Without Chief Green being here, I have asked him about the renovations prior, and I want to know, is this a part of this? Because the female changing locker room keeps getting put aside for our female officers. We're not able to retain and keep officers, and a basic function is having a place where you can change your clothes, get your police gear on, your vest, and be comfortable. So I wish he was here, but he's gone. And he's got a couple items, he's got 3 items on here I think that we need to go over. Yeah, go, yeah, I waited for you to read that.
No, I'm there. Madam Chair, through you to Ms. Burns. Yeah, this particular resolution is about, as it says, it talks about the CAT office. So the area in which you're talking about, it may be something separate that needs to be addressed or discussed with Chief Green, but this particular resolution talks about renovations, flooring, window treatments, and paintment for the CAT office. So this is specific to this 13,000.82 what is it, 838, is specific to just that. So this resolution you're voting on now would only be relevant to upgrades, maintenance, and modifications for this CAP office. If there are other concerns, we can deal with that, or we can have that matter discussed. But that's not a part, that's pretty evident to me, that's not a part of what this resolution is all about.
You want me to send you an email in regards to our female police officers' locker room, in regards to what stage that's in? Because if we're renovating other parts of the Flint Police Department, this should have been done. I mean, our female officers are out there doing their job the same as their male counterparts, and we need to make sure they're taken care of.
Well, that's, yeah, I understand. That's a particular aspect that you have shared. I don't know what Chief Green was already privy to and what he's already planned. He has a diagram of what he has planned out, so that might be a part of his plan.
Would that be when he gave us at the budget adoption hearing, or budget hearing? Time is up. So sorry. All right, I'll shoot you email.
Anyone else in the first round? All right. Second round, Karen?
Thank you. I will send the email. I want to make sure that as renovations are going on, that we're taking care of our female police officers. That's something that's important. You know, they're equally, should be given the same care as our male counterparts. So I'll shoot you an email. I do believe you can, oh, there it goes. Did you hear everything?
Yes, it did.
What's yours?
Reference to female locker room?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's being, if I recall correctly, our last discussion, I discussed that with Lee Osborne, and I believe it was out to bid. We had to get new bids for their locker room renovation.
For the locker room.
Yep.
And I'm concerned about that, but you and I did speak. I want to make sure that, because their locker room, there's sewage backup in there. And it hasn't been done since, matter of fact, I think they said half of the male locker room or portion that they gave to the women when the police department started. And so they need to, you know, women are now, how many female officers do you have on the force now? Do you know?
I can't give you an exact number. We have quite a few.
Yeah. So I want to make sure that accommodations we're accommodating them. And that also helps you in retention of keeping officers. When they can go in, because they now have to wear, when that was created, they have to wear bulletproof vests. And they didn't wear taser guns. So a lot of the gear and different things. And that the lockers are really small for them to put their personal, you know, belongings in. So yes, I'm going to, as a female, look out for our female and also our male counterparts. But we need to make sure we get that taken care of. And I don't know if, how do we get this done quicker? Because this has been a while.
Well,
they've been complaining since forever.
I started this project 2 years ago myself. I'm well aware of the situation with the women's locker room. We got bids 3 years ago. We've been put on the back burner. So I'm well aware of their situation. I'm 100% for the females' locker room being renovated. We met on this 2 weeks ago. So we're well aware of the situation.
Okay, can you give us an update on where it's at? You need me to shoot you and Clyde an email?
No.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Okay. I don't want, if we're looking 2 years, and it's been that way since the late 60s, maybe the first, 70, 71, I think we need to, we need to prioritize this. And is there something we can do to help you as a council, or it's all on your end? Or is it?
Well, that's a facilities issue, but they're working with us.
I'm going to send an email to Mr. Edwards to see if we can fast track that. I want to see you're hiring, and you're doing a great job with the hiring campaign. I even shared it on my social media and sent it to people because I want people to come to work for the city of Flint, but they need to have a place where they're comfortable. And women are very particular, even to where you're getting dressed, using the ladies' room. We need to make sure that they're not coming to a place that an outhouse is better than the bathroom inside the police station. And with your hiring program, we got to look like the type of talent that we want to attract. And that locker room does not look like the type of talent that we want to attract. It needs some work. So I will shoot you an email. I will always be for police, and you know that, and supporting that. And I know I had, I think, 3 women that were in my ward, police officers, and they're gone. And I like to see women out there, you know, on the force, but we need to make sure we're looking, the police department is looking like what it wants to attract, and it needs to be fair facilities for both male and female. And thank you for coming back, Chief Green, I appreciate it. You still have, I think, 2 more things that are on there that they may ask you about, so I wouldn't go too far. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, so with that being said, I don't like we have any more speakers in the second round. We'll go ahead and call for the vote. The vote to approve resolution 230-257.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Mushat? Mr. Pfeiffer? Ms. Worthing? Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Vote 8 yes, 0 no.
Opposed, 8 yes, 0 no. Resolution 230-257 is now approved.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Priestley.
make a motion to approve 230-270.
All right, motion to approve 230-270. Any support?
Support.
Support. I must support. I'll go with Mr. Murphy. Any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Burns.
I don't see anyone from facilities, so Mr. Edwards. Or is Rodman Daha here? Because he would know that. Mr. Edwards, I know the time is timing down, and it's difficult when the administration sits so far back, our time is limited. It would really help us if you guys were much closer, as opposed to sitting to the way back. No other council does that.
They're here, they're here.
Excuse me?
I said, all I make sure is that they're present. I'm not gonna monitor them in terms of where they're sitting.
No, I'm speaking in reference to you, sir.
Even
Because I lost minutes with questions, but I want to get on to this and not to be disrespectful. In my ward, streets were, I have residents out there cleaning out the drains. Are the street sweepers that we have, I think the last year was like 2017, we had some. Are they all operable, or do you know?
they're not all operable. That's
They're
right. That is exactly why the resolution is in front of you for the additional 3. They brought to my attention that there's a certain pattern or structure in which they operate the street sweepers. So we have, as I became more familiar with the situation, we only have 3. And really 3 are required for the pattern of operation that they run them down the street. If you've ever seen the county run theirs, they have them in kind of a accordion style. So we only have 3, that's why we need 3 more.
And that was my question, because I don't like seeing, Friday night I went out and you could not get down Allinger, Corona. You couldn't get down Brandon, Chicago, and people were digging out the drains themselves. We're required by state law to make sure that our sewers and drains are cleaned 4 times a year. Are we meeting that?
I don't know of that requirement, but I do know of some other requirements. That requirement I am not familiar with, so until as I do with the staff, I have to read that stuff in the requirements that Eagle puts forth in front of us.
Right, I know it is 4 times a year. How long will it take for these to get here? Because if we're getting into fall rainy season, literally, there was a lady, she was 94 cleaning out a drain. And she couldn't, with a shovel. And that, she couldn't do it. We got out the car to clean the drains out. And the storm was really bad, but the drains are terrible, terrible. Do we know the delivery time of these? Have they been ordered yet?
We would not order, we made inquiry, but we would not order until we receive the confirmation from council. Let me add as a part of that, that this is something that we've been working towards because, as I said, there's some other requirements that also have to be met. There are 4,000 catch basins in the city, so it is a demanding job. There are some pieces that were not in place, have not been in place in the city for some time. So part of what I'm doing now is constructing some things in terms of operational procedures that were not prevalent before I took over at this point.
So who is over that department? I know you are acting, would that be Rob McGowan? He's street.
Rob McGowan reports to me, that is correct.
Okay.
He is the operating supervisor of streets activity. But even from his perspective, there were some procedural things that were not in place that we are setting up at this point.
And we don't know how long it'll take for those to get here, though.
We do not, because we have not ordered them.
Have not ordered them. That was my only, so you do have some which are down. And so they're approximately 400,000 per street sweeper.
I'm not looking at it right now, so I can't really tell you, but whatever's in the resolution
Yes,
is correct.
for $1,590,000.
That would be correct. If it's printed in that resolution, I verified it in the resolution.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Those are expensive. What's a garbage truck? 300? Those are higher.
But
than
equipment
garbage
is
trucks.
expensive. This equipment is specialized for that purpose.
I'm going to support this. And thank you for answering. I know it's getting down. Thank you, Mr. Edwards.
You're welcome.
All right. Anyone else in the first round? Anyone else in the first round? Second round. You want the second round? No in the second round. Roll call, Madam Clerk, to approve resolution 230270.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Bouchette? Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Ms. Worthing? Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter? The vote is 8 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 8 yes, 0 no. Resolution 230270 is approved.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Murphy.
I would like to approve, move resolution 230211, rent safety supply speed humps.
Ms. Worthing, first one.
Madam Chair,
Excuse me.
make a motion to approve 230225.2.
All right. It has been moved by Ms. Priestley and supported by Ms. Worthing. Any debate? Any debate in the first round? All right, second round. Go ahead, Ms. Winfrey Carter.
Madam Chair, we still on the first round, right?
Pardon?
You're in the first round, right?
The second round.
Oh,
I said approved by Ms. Worthing. I said any conversation in the first round. Any conversation in the first round. Moving on to the second round.
Madam Chair, I think you should give us time to, reach our mics and everything. But anyway, I'm just going to say what I got to say. I'm going to be abstaining from this vote based on the reasons that I stated earlier. So I'll be abstaining. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else in the second round?
I'm sure.
Mr. Pfeiffer.
Yeah, I echo my colleague in the fifth ward, I'll be abstaining as well.
All right. Anyone else in the second round?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Thank you. This resolution, just for the public, is for the approval of the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Brownfield Plan for the Flint Commerce Center. And I know we here at the vote now has been very controversial, and I know my colleagues have some reserves on why they don't want to vote. And you have that right, and I respect that. But I think this brownfield, approval of this plan, and I listened to, the colleagues the residents talk about the 2080 plan. I went to the meetings and listened to Eagle and try to do as much as research that I could as a council just on, what this brownfield development plan. I've been following race of trust prior to me being city council. Just interested in seeing what the cleanup of that site looked like. We just was put in a bad situation with the bankruptcy. That's what I think personally. With the race of trust, I felt like, I thought that they were there to clean up the whole entire site and get it ready. But once I got to learning and talking to Race of Trust and going to the meetings, they had a public meeting at the Dome that I was hoping my colleagues went to just so we can educate ourselves and learn about what the cleanup looked like. It's just a lot of moving parts, and I'm still learning when it comes down to what the cleanup looked like and the development of this site. But for some of us who grew up in that particular area, this was very big for us, big news for us, because we didn't know was they going to ever develop over there. And I want to talk about the 2080, what I've learned. The 2080 is only the taxable value of once the building is built. So right now we're not receiving that much taxes from the development, the land itself. Once they build the building, then that's when the 2080 kick in. So if they pay 100% of the taxes, 80% is reimbursed to them. So right now we're not getting really anything for that piece of slab that's there. So for the next 25, I think, years, they will only recoup the taxable value on once they build the building. So if they get all of this land and they're gonna build a building, we can't tax them anything because there's nothing there to tax. So.
Point of information. There is currently a building that has been built, correct?
Say that again?
They've currently already done phase 1, correct?
Oh, yes, but that phase, we're getting 100% of that taxable value of that property. So that piece of land that they're doing now is not a 28. We're gonna get 100% of that tax. The buildings moving forward that they build, that's when the 2080 take place, because some of those, as you get deeper going north, there are more environmental issues in the ground, and because they.
What's your request?
Request for information, thank you. I'm just wondering, so the building, the phase 1 is already done, 100% of the taxes, what are we capturing 100% of right now? And if we are not capturing 100% of everything right now, has there been a plan presented to what will go there and how soon will we capture that 100%?
Probably, I can't answer that part. Through you to, Mark, could you come and answer that question for my colleague?
Hello, Mark Moonbeam with Ashley Capital. So to your question, so the first phase, which is the first building, the 330,000 square feet, that's not part of this brownfield plan. So there is no capture really. I mean, the word capture is being used a lot, but like essentially it's just a normal building. There's no tax rebate, there's no nothing on it. Just taxes are paid, city gets their share, county gets their share, state gets their share. there's no reduction, it's just straight up. Just for what we're talking about here is the brownfield plan, and Councilman Murphy, you're correct. As those buildings are built, then what would happen is the city would keep getting the taxes they're getting now, but the new taxes that are created by buildings as they're built, 80% would be captured and reimbursed for eligible expenses, and 20% would go to the normal tax jurisdictions, being the city, county, and state.
Mr. Murphy, does that conclude comment? Oh, all right. Yeah. Anyone else in the second round?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Byrne?
thank you, Mr. Mark, before you disappear, please. Quick question, so you're stating, because I know that they don't make it, they can go back and come back in 30 days. Is this time sensitive?
I'm sorry.
Is this time sensitive?
The approval that we're looking for tonight?
Right.
Yes.
Why is it time sensitive?
Because this is one of the key elements that we're looking for to close on the property to proceed with the next phase of the project, which we want to start in the fall, and there's many things we have to get lined up, and so we really need the certainty of the vote tonight so that we can move along and start this work, because ultimately, as we've been entertaining prospective tenants who are interested in the project, what we really want to try to do is get through a lot of the demolition on that first 150 acres over the fall and winter, really at this point winter and spring, so that we can position the property to be able to start construction assuming the market's there by the summer, by the next construction season. If we
Our
don't,
next construction season is not until next spring.
sure, yeah.
So there are some questions. So the time, since I know you have a desired timeline, but I think there's questions that the community, and I'm gonna be very honest with you, I have residents, not in the 80-20, the 72 million, my ward is very diverse. And they are concerned, some of them just flat out said, I don't believe in any tax abatement or giving any taxes, but I understand the other part where we're saying, you know what, if there's nothing being given on it now, it's kind of like you've got a bird in the hand rather than one is better than the bush. And so, and it's like residents are being forced. I feel like this is rushed, I do, for me, with the conversations with the public. Then also when it came out to, there should have been a community benefit agreement. This is how do we let Ashley Capital come here and there's no community benefit agreement? None. There's zero.
Point of information.
Yes.
Has any member of the council or yourself asked for a community benefit agreement in any of the meetings?
Not as of yet, we have not. But it's something that Ashley Capital should have done, coming to the community. You're a big industry. A lot of this we're just getting and it's just coming to us. And several council members, I went to my meeting with Councilman Pfeiffer, and only him and I talked with him in regards to, it was a back and forth, like, hey, did you get a call to go back to Ashley? And I said, well, they sent the email, and I think someone had called. I like to do everything in public because that's who we serve, that's who elects us, is the public.
Request for information. Are you asking him now, can it be amended that there is going to be a community benefits agreement?
I will get to that in just a second, but thank you very much, I have a little more. So, that to me, when we talk about, and then the transparency, I wish that we could have had something for every meeting, or every board. But the cleanup, I'm really concerned about, and it's very true and factual, that if Razor Trust ran out of money, would the government pick that up? Or the cleanup?
Yeah, right, so can I give a contextual answer?
Yeah, in about
Sure.
2 minutes.
Sure, I'll try to be quick. So Razor Trust mission on this site is to mitigate the environmental risk. The word cleanup gets thrown around a lot, but there's a lot of confusion about what cleanup actually means. And so, we tried to clarify that in the FAQ that we submitted to council to try to give some, longer answers to that. The short answer is Razor has mostly finished their cleanup on the 175 acres that we're talking about for this brownfield plan.
Mm-hmm.
The reason, people keep saying they ran out of money. They haven't. They still have money, but they're concerned that they don't have enough money left to deal with the PFAS on the 2 reserve parcels that are not part of this brownfield plan. And the state knows that, and there's discussions with the state in trying to find more funding for them to be able to, to deal with that. But that's not part of this brownfield plan. in the event that Racer did run out of money, yes, the state would then come in, but the state wouldn't do anything different to the 175 acres that we're dealing with. Because right now, the slabs are acting as a cap. Anything that we do to disturb that cap becomes what's called due care obligations, which is what our brownfield plan is all about, which has to do with the redevelopment. But this, even if the state were to take over Racer's responsibility, they would be trying to find money to deal with the PFAS on the 2 parcels that are not even part of this brownfield plan, but they really wouldn't be doing anything except long-term monitoring on the 175 acres that we're talking about for the brownfield plan.
So the residents, which, and I'm saying, the 72 million that the capture, and I've listened to everyone say they may not receive this seed in their lifetime, and this is it is great to have someone that is here to be able to build. But the other part is residents are saying, why are we not exhausted all our means before we put it or saddle the residents with that? We need tax revenue in our community. We need it. We need it terribly. And it's not just a small proportion. Many feel that
Ms. Burns.
National Capital is taking advantage of a poor community. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Anyone else in the second round?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Michelle?
through you to, I'm just wondering, is there an opportunity to have community benefits? Walk a little faster. Just a little bit. Yeah.
So we don't have a community benefits agreement in any of the communities that we work in, which doesn't mean.
So for the city of Flint, is that possible?
So that's a big question. So would we have considered it? Yes. At this point, this is really time sensitive, as far as for us to have certainty whether or not we're going to move forward. Would we still entertain the idea of a community benefits even after this vote? Yes. We would.
And then my second question, the 72 million, I know we keep talking about it, but I need you to make that all the way plain of where that 72 million is coming from.
Where it's coming from or how we got to the number?
Where it's coming from.
Where it's coming from. So, first of all, the first building is not part of the brownfield plan, so the city, the county, everybody's capturing, and the estimate of those taxes is a big number. Mark, do you remember what it is?
433,000.
So the first building that is under construction, it's not completed, but we're going on that. So that $400 and some thousand is not subject to capture. So that's going part, whatever part goes to the city. So the 72 is the, when we build the next building, for example, we're gonna be taxed full taxable value for that. And after we pay those taxes and after we spent the money on the building, then we'll submit an invoice for the expenses that are eligible. And eligible means they have to be very specific to additional costs to build the building on a brownfield. So then we submit those, and now they're gonna go to an independent third party selected by the city, and then out of that, we will be reimbursed 80%. And so it's only after we build the next building and pay the taxes on that building that the revenue comes back from those taxes that we have paid.
Okay, so you're going to build a building, pay the taxes on the building, and then be reimbursed for your taxes?
Yes, out of that, yes. And we don't get to 72 million until, I mean, that's obviously every building on the site over many, many years. And if we don't, if something, the market doesn't justify continuing to build buildings, whatever, so we don't get reimbursed anything that we didn't pay in.
Right, and so then that, what?
Through the speaker all right.
So it has to go to the speaker.
Right, okay, so I'll bring my point up myself.
You're fine, I lost my train of thought now, but you're fine. Right, so, I mean, I guess I understand, so the 70, which brings back to what, my colleague in the 8th Ward put in place with the third party, verifying that the work is actually done, and that it's not, well, that is completed, before that money is reimbursed.
Yes, and one more thing I think is important is that the brownfield plan also has to be approved at the state level by Eagle, by the agency, and they also act as another, I guess, scrutiny, a point of scrutiny or something, as far as, because the state doesn't want to reimburse part of their taxes for expenses that aren't eligible.
Thank you.
Ms. Priestley?
Okay, so one of the things that I think that people are, when you and I met, you said, oh, you got it right away. And I don't know that it's been clear, is that $72 million capture of those qualified expenses is only the difference between what you would have not needed to spend. That's just the money that you needed to spend to bring it up to a usable fashion. Is that correct? Those are the qualified expenses?
Yes, the qualified expenses are both, there's an environmental category and a non-environmental category. Both categories really are about getting the site to, a developable condition similar to a greenfield site.
So it's not the tax on the whole building that's being remediated, it's just those expenses?
Well, no, what's happening is that as Susan mentioned, there's two independent things happening. We have to spend eligible expenses to get the property, into shape.
Right.
For the whole project, which is estimated at 3.5 million square feet over 7 buildings, that total estimated cost of those eligible expenses is $72.5 million.
But then you got the cost of the building.
And then independent of that is the taxable value of the building that is getting, and taxes are paid on that, and that gets reimbursed. So the 80% of that over time builds up until if we spend the full $72.5 million, that is eventually paid off.
I guess I didn't, that's what I was understanding that to be. So, I mean, to me, I still say it's a win-win. Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
All right. Anyone else like to speak in the second round? Anyone else? Well, seeing there's no one else, we go ahead and call for the vote. And this is to approve Resolution 230-225.2. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer? Ms. Worthing?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Murphy Carter?
I abstain.
Ms. Burns?
I abstain because there is no community benefit agreement for big industry coming into the city of Flint, and we're allowing them to not have that.
The vote is 5 yes, 0 no, 3 abstentions.
So it's 5 yes, 0 no, 3 abstentions. That resolution passes. Ms. Worthing, there's a motion to adjourn in support.
Support.
Support by Councilman Murphy. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
No.
Ms. Worthing?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
No.
Ms. Murphy Carter?
No.
Ms. Burns?
No.
Ms. Michelle? The vote is 3 yes, 5 no.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Priestley.
make a motion to approve Resolution 230249.
There is a motion on the floor to approve 230-249. So before I proceed, I just want to do a time check. The time is now 11:15. I know that we were scheduled to be out of the chambers at 10:30. So I will refer to the clerk to see what correspondence we have with the county to see about remaining in the building. Again, we were supposed to be out at 9:30. The extension was granted to 10:30, and it is now 11:15.
We good.
All right, so we have a motion to approve 230249. And is it supported?
Question.
Wait a minute, hold on. First, so supported by Ms. Worthing. Okay. And then it was second by Ms. Worthing. Ms. Worthing, are you seconding the calling of the question, or are you seconding approval of moving forward with the motion? Don't see why not.
I thought I said it seconded.
All right, so it's been moved by Ms. Priestley, seconded by Ms. Worthing. Call the question has been called by Ms. Priestley, seconded by Ms. Worthing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Worthing.
Yes.
Ms. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Ms. Priestley.
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter.
No.
Ms. Burns.
No.
Ms. Mashat. And Mr. Pfeiffer. The vote is 6 yes, 2 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 2 no. The call for the question passes. So we're looking to send resolution 230249 for approval. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Ms. Priestley.
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter.
I abstain for reasons stated early on.
Ms. Burns.
I abstain because the ARPA committee was not brought, the members who made these decisions did not come to us by resolution or ordinance.
Ms. Mashat. Mr. Pfeiffer. Ms. Worthing.
Yes.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no, 2 abstentions.
Vote is 6 yes, 0 no, 2 abstentions. That resolution passes.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Priestley.
I make a motion to approve 230253.
There's a resolution to approve 230253. Hold on one second. Okay. All right, look.
Call the question.
Been moved and seconded by Ms. Worthing, and then call the question by Ms. Priestley, supported by Ms. Worthing again. All right. So the vote is called for the question. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Ms. Priestley.
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter.
No.
Ms. Burns.
No.
Ms. Mashat. Mr. Pfeiffer. Ms. Worthing.
Yes.
Ms. Lewis.
Yes.
The vote is 6 yes, 2 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 2 no. Call for the question passes. Now we're about to vote for the approval of Resolution 230253. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Priestley.
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter.
I abstain for reasons stated before.
Ms. Burns.
I abstain because of the 12-member body was not brought to this body by resolution or ordinance.
Ms. Mashat.
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer. Ms. Worthing.
Yes.
Ms. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no, 2 abstentions.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no, 2 abstentions. That resolution now passes.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Priestley.
make a motion to approve 230274.
Support.
All right, there's a motion to approve 230274, supported by Mr.
Madam
Murphy.
Chair.
Ms. Burns.
Thank you. Is Chief Green still here? Mr. Edwards is still here?
Nope. Y'all passed, Brownfield, yeah.
Well, I'm going to it's my time. So this is a memorandum of understanding for the Flint Police Officers Labor lieutenants and captains for lump sum payment. There are 4 individuals who are sergeants and they were not paid. This was brought to my attention. We were able to get this taken care of. I want to make sure we take care of our police, especially during the time that we are losing them and they're having a hard time hiring them. This had slipped through the cracks. These officers have been working and they would do this back in October of last year. So this was a long time coming to get this to make our sergeants with the Flint Police Department to make them whole. And I'm disappointed that Chief Green is not here and neither is the city administrator to handle the rest of the business of the city, especially when our police are so important. We need them every day, we don't have enough, and our city administrator is not here. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, anyone else in the first round? Second round, anyone in the second round? All right, seeing that there is no one else, we will go ahead and call for the vote. Roll call, Madam Chair.
Ms. Murphy Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Boucher? Mr. Pfeiffer? Ms. Worthing? Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
The vote is 8 yes, 0 no.
Vote is 8 yes, 0 no. That resolution passes. We have a motion to adjourn by Ms. Priestley, supported by Ms. Worthing.
Call for the question.
And call for the question by Mr. Murphy. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
This is on the motion to adjourn. Ms. Burns?
No.
Ms. Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer? Ms. Worthing?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Murphy Carter?
Yes.
The vote is 7 yes, 1 no.
The vote is 7 yes, 1 no. The city council meeting is now adjourned at 11:22 p.m.
Yeah, we'll take that.